Our first item, getting Latinos out to the polls. Right now, over 25 million Hispanics are eligible to vote, but sadly, a majority won't. This is why over 50 organizations are coming together during Hispanic Heritage Month in the hopes of it becoming the Hispanic Heritage Month of Action. Will they succeed? Let's ask ABC7's John Gonzalez, Telemundo Network's Lori Montenegro, and the editor-in-chief of El Tiempo Latino, Alberto Avendaño. Welcome all.
Pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you guys here. How decisive, Alberto Avendaño, will be the Latino vote in the upcoming midterm election?
Let me start saying one thing. I think the Hispanic vote is the next frontier of American democracy. However, right now, the Hispanic vote, for me, from my perspective, and the numbers are on the table, is a challenge. Civic engagement, making people understand what going out and vote means is still a challenge, is still something that needs to be articulated better with the Hispanic community.
Will it be decisive on the midterm election?
My personal opinion is no, and I think that that places us in a position of almost irrelevancy, which is a word that I know Lori hates. But it's something that we need to really put on the table. We need to be relevant because we are here to make a difference and to be Americans.
Lori, I take it that you don't agree with Alberto and the
no,
Latino vote is irrelevant.
it's not that I don't agree with him. I don't like the word irrelevant because I think if you say that we are irrelevant, we won't go and vote because the mentality is going to be then if my vote is not going to count, then why go to the polls? Yes, Alberto's right. It is a challenge, but I think one of the things that we fail to look at sometimes is that we may be irrelevant in the midterm election in certain states, but in others not. And then we also have to understand that in the midterms, it's not only elections at the federal level. You have governors that are also running. You have mayors. We live in towns. There are councilmen, and Hispanics have to understand that we do have to go out and vote at that time because you can impact the policy in the community where you live.
And that's why it's important.
I think the primaries is the problem right now. So much was made about the Latino vote and the power of the Latino vote when Barack Obama became president. Si se puede became such a popular phrase. But I think the primaries is still where we're seeing a big issue with Latinos coming to the polls. Just an example, the last census numbers show back in 2010, during the midterm elections, only 31% of Latinos voted around the country. And of the 14 million that didn't vote, some 54% were Latinos born in the U.S. We're talking American citizens like myself who really don't have much of an excuse.
And usually we have a lower turnout during the midterms anyway. That's true for everyone.
We do because so much attention is placed on the presidential election. But also I think this is something that we as a community need to start educating our youth from the time that they are in school, because it is, those statistics are startling, but also there is an enormous amount of Latinos who turn 18 every year. I mean, it's almost 50,000 or something. And so the fact that we don't see them, going to the polls, and we need to attack the root of the problem. What is it?
And don't we have a couple of 100,000 Latinos who are permanent residents that could potentially become citizens and vote in our area that haven't done so?
Correct. That's the citizenship issue that John was talking about. That's an issue. Why we don't become citizens at higher rates, at higher speed, I would say.
A lot of times I think it has to do with economics. It's not cheap to become a U.S. citizen. A lot of it has to do sometimes with money.
I don't believe that. I don't believe the economic issue. I think it is psychological, it's cultural, and we need to break those barriers. We need to break those obstacles
when you say
they are in your mind.
And cultural, what are you talking about specifically?
I'm talking about my experience talking to these people who can become citizens and they are not doing it. They give you excuses like, well, I am so from my, and then they say the home country of origin. And then, yes, I am happy here, my children are here, but I still feel that I don't belong. Well, you know what? Once you have stayed here for this amount of time, you need to understand that you belong here and you have to make the difference here.
All right, let me ask you guys about the delay on immigration reform and the delay on the executive order dealing with immigration. How is this going to affect the get out the vote efforts?
It will.
Okay.
It will, because I'm up on the Hill and I'm interviewing congressmen, and for example, I have one particular congressman who said, you know, this thing was like a slap in the face for us, because the president asked us and promised us, and we went out there and we told our constituency, stay calm, just wait a little bit longer. He will take action by the end of the summer, and then all of a sudden the rug is pulled up out from under us, and you know, we're left standing there. And he said, I feel like I have no credibility with my constituency. And so how does he go back and say, you know, you have to vote, we have to go to the polls? We heard Congressman Luis Gutierrez, Democrat from Illinois, say, look, I'm not going to tell anybody first not to go vote, but I'm not going to tell anybody vote Democrat. What I'm going to say is, go to the polls and exercise your right, and at the same time demonstrate the political power that our community is capable of having.
Okay.
Correct. So these candidates need to understand that immigration and the immigration issue as a whole is an American issue. Correct. It's not only about some people with no documents. It's about 85% of those people with no documents saying that they have ties to Americans, to citizens.